Is it true that if you swallow chewing gum, you die?
Yes.
Oh. Don't you just grow a tree in your stomach?
Well, bitch, get ready for some leaves. This is Mike Diamond.
This is Miss Matinga, and today we have a special guest here, Miss
Erika Klash.
That's right, girl. Now, today is going to be a frightful episode of Homework. We're going to start by talking about the movie Demons.
One of my all-time favorite movies, an incredible Italian horror movie from the 80s. Just schlock. I'm sure you would say
total
classic.
Total schlock.
Why don't we give the audience a definition of that particular genre of horror film?
You know, giallo is a type of Italian horror film, usually heavy on the symbolism, heavy on the gore and blood. It can be a bit noirish. But would you consider Demons a giallo film?
No. So giallo films are specifically murder mystery films, and they're based off of. So they're called giallo because they were like these cheap dime store novels that you would buy, like a Duane Reade novel, but you know, for an Italian murder mystery. So those have a specific kind of formula to them.
And a feel.
Yeah, and a feel. And Dario Argento, Mario Bava invented that form. Dario Argento popularized it and brought it to, you know,
with like
Deep Tenebrae, Deep Red, like
Phenomena.
all those films. Yeah. But Demons is just like, it's a zombie movie, but what with a twist. Like, they're not zombies, but it's a similar feeling of they're zombies or they're monsters around, and people are turning into monsters, and you have to fight your way out of it.
I have a question. So, giallo, does that have anything to do with giallo pudding pops? Or is that a whole other thing? And Demons, is part of the horror the amount of feathering that's in the lead actress's hair?
I think her name is Hovey. Her last
Natasha
name is
Hovey in the lead role. Yeah, I think the friend's hair was a little bit more crunchy, and I mean crunchy. Like you could see the mousse in it. She was going for that wet look.
She was giving you mousse, huh?
Yeah.
Girl looks absolutely frightened from the first frame, and she's just on the Berlin subway.
Well, I mean, I think the direction she got was keep your eyes wide open at all times.
And then the sexy Miko Suave as that guy with the big mask on his face giving out the movie tickets.
Yes.
So sexy. So sexy.
Who is this character? Why is he giving out these tickets to these people? Why is his arc never like explained? Right. Is it important that these particular people are the people that go see because what the story is, he's giving out passes to the premiere of a horror film at this Berlin cinema called the Metropole. Yeah. And so he gives them out to certain people, but why these particular people? Like so many unanswered questions, including who are you? Why do you kind of look like the lead actor too, but you're not the lead actor?
Yeah, the lead actor's sexy too, though. He was giving me a taste.
Demons is a movie about shit going down in a movie theater and people dying. Is that the basic synopsis?
That's the basic, yeah. We see all these different people that don't know each other that are going to see this movie, and
this fierce movie theater called the Metropole, which is now a disco.
Yeah, it became a gay club.
Yeah,
it did. Yeah. So all these different people, you have like the pimp with his two prostitutes. One of the prostitutes,
and one of them looking very peaches and herb.
Yeah, and the other one looking, you know, like Robin Givens as Rick James on Halloween.
Yes, giving me Ashford and Simpson, like together. Like Ashford and Simpson
together.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's really interesting because
reunited. It don't feel so good.
Not feeling all that good, girl. But it's kind of like, it's funny because it's kind of meta in that these people go to a movie theater to watch a film about the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. The demons, they explain.
About the demon apocalypse.
Yeah, they explain.
So they're in a movie theater watching a movie about a demonic apocalypse. But as a kid, you're in a movie theater watching a film about people in a movie theater.
Right.
Watching a film about the demonic apocalypse. That's fucking meta. And it's
very Scream before Scream even existed.
And it fucked with my head when I was that age. Like as a 14-year-old, I was in that theater with 12 other people. Like, what?
So, and they're in Berlin, but an Italian movie.
Yes,
but shot in Berlin and Rome.
Yes, and this is very much standard practice for Italian horror movies. You know, Europe is so small geographically, so you have lots of different actors from different places. In Suspiria, for example, they never even took a proper soundtrack. Everyone did their lines in their native language, and then they dubbed everything separately each language.
So it was like super 80s. I don't know if it was a hit it or not, I will say that I kind of bugged out. It definitely was cheesy, and I was into the hooker with the cornrows and all the madness, and of course, all the demonicness was very interesting.
The ticket taker was definitely giving me drag. Like she was like.
And also, what was her deal? Like, was she good? Was she bad? Was she in on it? Like so many unanswered questions.
I was expecting them to knock her at some point and be like, explain, bitch. But she had almost less information than the other people.
Exactly, and she does get turned. But listen, is it art? No. Is it schlock? Yes. Did it scare the crap out of me when I was 14? Yes. But when I watched it 2 nights ago, I laughed my ass off. But you know what? I feel like it was kind of like the last gasp of like in-camera gore effects. You still have in-camera gore effects, but like that was old school. And there's some really special moments, like when the demon like comes out of her back, the whole hooker transformation in the bathroom.
Not talking about hooker transformation, girl.
That's like some scary dark shit. It was good.
The hooker that the second hooker that gets turned out, she you can see like the fangs coming out. It's something that really inspired like my drag recently. It's like the fangs and that like goopy sort of green slime. A major thing for me is, I love graphic makeup styles. I love to incorporate that, and so I thought I was thinking of myself as like a pop art zombie anime bitch. Like, that's like the sort of like the basic kernel of it, and then I can sort of branch out from there.
I'm like an actual zombie drag queen like RuPaul.
Right.
Talk about The Walking Dead, honey.
Well, RuPaul has given me Five Nights at Freddy's and Chuck E. Cheese animatronic.
Yo. So let me ask you now, you were on Dragula.
Fagula, yes.
I know it's a very different show, but is it basically RuPaul's Drag Race if everybody was infected with some kind of flesh-eating zombie bacteria?
I think what we do is so like the objective of like our creative pursuits on Dragula are so different. Drag Race, it's a runway, so it's modeling an outfit, it's modeling clothes. We are telling stories, we're giving character, like we're building this character, this person from the ground up and presenting it as if we were on stage doing a show. So that's really what the difference was for me.
I kind of feel like, and mind you, I love RuPaul's Drag Race and I love Dragula.
Oh, Drag Race changed my life, certainly.
I kind of feel like RuPaul's Drag Race is like training the new showgirls. Mm-hmm. And then Dragula is like, honey, these girls are doing shows.
But you have sort of horror elements in Drag Race, like Sharon Needles was very that tip.
Yeah.
Or, I think they did a Halloween themed episode this past season.
Or like Coco Montrese, Monster.
Any day of the week.
Yeah.
But there, you know what? It's
Shady Eliminations. That's a monster.
Oh, trust.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Yeah.
It's all about expressing your art. But I just love the fact that it doesn't always have to be, because I think the way into drag for a lot of people has been RuPaul's Drag Race, because it's so friendly, it's so open, it's so kind of like Louise Hay, let's all feel good about it. But it has a structure. But I kind of believe that there's a lot of us in the community that feel like outsiders, and we embrace that. It doesn't make us feel bad. We embrace it, and you can do something maybe a little darker, maybe a little more twisted, and have fun with it. And there's a way, and in a way that you would never see on Drag Race, that you can do, there's more room there for other types of things.
And being an outsider probably would lead someone to be into horror films. There are themes of outsiderness in horror. Hello, can we talk about Carrie, the 1976 Brian De Palma adaptation of Stephen King's Carrie?
Yeah.
She carries.
She definitely carries. She definitely lets those bitches have it at the end. And I think like me, I'm sure all of us growing up in New York City, like being queer kids, know that feeling of like high school
I won't
is hell.
be labeled. Don't label me.
No labels?
Yeah.
Because you can't afford them.
Right.
Interesting little side note about Brian De Palma. Brian De Palma made a film called Dressed to Kill, which in its way follows a lot of the tropes of giallo films. It actually really does. And also the central murderer is a person on the spectrum, a drag queen, maybe some guy who feels like he's
a
trans,
transvestite.
a transvestite,
a whole
but somebody
other category.
on the
Yeah.
spectrum.
Yeah.
But
Well, we see it
interesting.
too with Silence of the Lambs. I mean, that is, well, they make a distinction that Buffalo Bill is not a trans woman. He has his own sort of dysfunction going on, but it's kind of one of the most, if you're looking at it a certain way, it's one of the most like transphobic movies you've ever seen.
But don't we all have a cat suit made out of human skin in our closets? No? Is it
I'm wearing mine right now.
a trust? I think that queerness and horror, there's a nexus there that I think because a lot of people in the queer community can feel sort of outside the norms of regular society, that we gravitate to anime, manga, comic books, superheroes like the X-Men, horror films, because that
Mommy Dearest.
Mommy Dearest. And there's so many horror films that have either like an intense upfront homoeroticism about them, or kind of like a homoeroticism underneath them, like say
They say coded. That's the word they use. Like coded.
like a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. So freaking gay.
I mean, him backing up his ass into that drawer.
Yeah.
Same.
Exactly. Exactly.
I just came across a documentary about that film where they highlight the gay themes, and I watched a little montage, and there's like bullying on the football field. Someone gets knocked down, and a jockstrap and his ass comes out. There's
I think
a
he meets-
shower scene.
I think he meets the coach in a gay bar.
In a gay
but
bar.
they never quite acknowledge it. Like they don't show the name of the bar. Then
But it's all men in the bar.
But it's like the local manhole or ramrod or
It always is, and then they
I'm a
go, and then they
local
go back
manhole.
to the, to the gymnasium, and it's like a BDSM
Shower scene.
moment,
Right,
Yeah,
right.
and there is. I remember being a young guy, in my teens, and watching that, and being a young gay guy
on
and, like,
HBO late night.
Yeah, and seeing it for what it was, but also kind of understanding that it was coded just enough that the straight people in the audience would just think it was some off the wall
Right.
thing.
Yeah, and that's
In 80s horror films, I guess getting male skin, male booty, male flesh was much more rare than some teenage girl who had titties out.
Honey, why do you think I went to see Porky's 14 times?
Word.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's something interesting as well as far as the codedness of it. I mean, they denied it for many years that it was gay, but I think eventually
The actors, a lot of the actors were like, oh, I never saw that in the script.
Yeah.
But the lead actor's gay.
the lead actor's gay, and it's sort of this feeling like because we are people that can look outside the dominant culture, we see it for what it is. So it's sort of like we're getting away with the dirty little secret of like seeing this for what it really is, and
The coach was kind of hot, and so was the boy.
the boy was totally my type.
We should probably finish up with Demons. Demons is all set up in like the first half hour, and then it's carnage and mayhem as the theater gets invaded. There is a cute little scene where like these punks break into the theater, but they're doing coke out of a Coke can
Yes.
from a straw,
Yes.
which I always thought, what a novel idea.
That's so smart. How has
Yeah.
nobody? I bet you somebody on the pier did that at one point.
Oh, honey, I might have
This
been
one.
me.
Might have
Yeah,
been.
and but like it's just all set up until then everyone they can't get out of the theater. Suddenly the theater is all blocked off.
Yeah, like
These
they
people can't
cemented
get
it
out.
in like 20 minutes.
In like 20 seconds, and so everyone is killed except for like the two protagonists, and it's sort of a fight for their survival. Are they going to get out of the theater?
And in order to do that, they have to get on a motorcycle with a samurai
With a
sword.
samurai sword.
Which is so legend.
Sometimes
Also-
you have to.
Why is that motorcycle, which is in the theater, how is that filled with gasoline and ready to run?
It's just a prop in the lobby.
Why? How is it suddenly tearing around the theater? Like
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, and honey, why do you put on that demon mask?
Right.
That's you're just gonna touch a prop that's just sitting there.
Well, it's how I get into drag. I just put a mask on.
Wait, and there's like a blind dude and his health aide or something.
Yeah, his
Totally getting it
his-
on.
Yeah, his home attendant was getting it on with some other guy. But he was annoying, like talking through the movie. He's like, "What are they doing, Liz? What are they doing, Liz?"
Liz, I can tell you're sucking cock. You're a whore. What are you doing?
Let's play a game.
Yes.
Let's play a little round of fuck, marry, kill, and I'm going to give you a couple of options.
Okay.
Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Michael Myers from Halloween. Go.
I think I would kill Freddy. He's a little too butch for me.
He doesn't play fair.
I think I would fuck Jason Voorhees. I think he has a little bit of too fragile of an ego for me. So, but Michael Myers is a strong, silent type who can be gentle if he wants to be.
Right, if he wanted to be.
There's certain moments where you see humanity in him.
But if you give him some lip, he will turn around and slap you down
and nail you to a closet. So, but I would marry Michael Myers for sure, I think. What about you, Matinga?
I guess you gotta kill Freddy. You gotta kill Freddy because it's just like he's problematic. I guess kill Jason and you marry Michael.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I would kill Michael Myers from Halloween because I just think he's boring. And don't you come for my Jamie Lee Curtis.
Love me some Jamie Lee Curtis.
Okay.
Legend, icon.
I would fuck Jason because a hockey mask can be hot. And I'd marry Freddy Krueger. And let me let you know why. That bitch could get you in your dreams, in your sleep, honey. Could live your fantasy, bring your fantasy to life. You could look good and feel expensive.
I have a feeling that if I fucked Freddy Krueger, I'd just, at the end of it, I'd just be sitting with my colon next to me on the couch watching Golden Girls. And so happy.
Yeah.
But of course, there's Hellraiser too, was just an exercise in BDSM,
we'll
craziness.
Talk about homoeroticism in movies. I actually think Clive is a genius, and I actually kind of think he's sexy too.
I feel like he's gay, and the guy who wrote Scream is gay. Right. Kevin Williamson.
Is he gay?
He's gay.
He did Dawson's Creek too.
It makes so much sense. I mean, why else would you cast Rebecca Gayheart in a movie?
Hello.
There's also the whole subset of like indie gay horror movies.
Yes.
Let me tell you, the other night, I wandered out of the house because I was bored. And I got on the L train and I went to this club called Rosemont.
Yes.
And I ran into Lady Havoc.
I love Lady Havoc.
Who I haven't seen in forever. And by the way, thank God she improved her eyebrow game. She looks great. She looks fantastic. But
if you say so.
We all need a good eyebrow game.
So she told me about this movie that she had been in called Killer Unicorn.
Oh, yes.
Now, I've yet to watch the whole thing. I did see a scene of a hot guy in sequin shorts and a unicorn mask getting a blowjob and then stabbing someone.
That sounds good to me.
So let's talk about indie gay horror because I think that's also a thing.
There's a really great slasher movie from the mid 2000s or earliest 2000s called Hellbent.
I love Hellbent.
Yes. There's a guy in there that's like doing drag for the first time, and he right as he de-drags, he just gets wham. That's me. That's how I de-drag.
Yeah. But then of course there are horror films that maybe are not in and of themselves queer, but they appeal to queer audiences.
Or The Craft.
The Craft. Or even there's a film called Fright Night.
Fright Night, which has Steven Sarandon. Is that it?
Steve Sarandon is the vampire.
Looking sexy.
But there's like a little character in it. His name is, I forget the actor's name, but he plays the character called Evil, and he's like a little Jack Nicholson type guy.
Yes.
That character, that actor is gay and actually went on later to do gay porn. But I remember like watching that movie and having such a giant crush on him and watching that movie several times because when they kill him, he falls out the window. And when he falls out the window on the floor, he's naked.
Yes. Is it the blonde?
The blonde kid.
Yeah,
Evil.
He did gay porn?
He did gay porn.
Oh my God. Bye. I'm going to go look that up now.
So it's called Fright Night. And also Fright Night is
a vampire movie.
It's a really good, fun vampire movie.
Great 80s soundtrack.
Yeah. And then there are gay characters in horror films that are really problematic. Like there's a film called Windows with Talia Shire where her next door neighbor is a lesbian obsessed with her and like, kills her cat in the refrigerator and pays this guy to rape her and then eventually like breaks into her apartment and like, puts on one of her sweaters. And
Lesbianage. Yeah. Lingo term, right?
It's like lesbianage, exactly. And it's like definitely the male gaze of I think lesbians are hot, but let's also just really defame and sort of sublimate them as well. Right. So you can get problematic things as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we see that certainly with Silence of the Lambs. They make the distinction that Buffalo Bill has not been diagnosed with gender dysphoria or is not, for other reasons, not been approved for transitioning. But he is a monster, and he's living with this dysfunction of wanting these women's skins. Very scary.
And you have to be careful because I saw a film many years ago called The Celluloid Closet, and after the Hayes Law was put into effect, more often than not, when you saw a gay person or a gay type person in a film, they were playing the bad character, the evil character, the shifty character, or they were playing the ridiculous fop, the butler, or the Tony Randall type characters that were like supposedly straight, but they were very like the Charles Nelson Riley type characters.
Yeah, totally.
So you could get that too. But then you could also have like movies where, it was definitely maybe not celebrated, but definitely like not a bad thing either.
Right. I mean, I think like a movie like Dracula's Daughter, in that movie, she has male and female targets. And there's this sense of she doesn't want to be this. And so they've often interpreted that as a coded sort of like, self-hatred. As a bisexual woman, she has this self-hatred. She's trying to kind of constantly, cure herself of her desires.
Cure herself of her vampirism. Right. Like those things do entwine.
Has there been like horror porn?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been a really great.
I love how she just knows immediately.
Well, I've seen like an American Horror Story porno. I've seen a couple of them. There was also a really great, and by great I mean just crazy, Pokemon porno, which is like a woman in like full Pikachu prosthetics. It was strange.
I've also seen like horror porn cartoons where like a guy is getting fucked by a werewolf or like some type of monster.
I think that's sexy.
Yeah, you get. So do I. And you do get that, of course.
I think the true horror in gay porn is when the actors wear eyeliner. It disturbs me and frightens me.
And it does happen.
Yeah.
But I think what can't be denied is that, there are queers in every corner of cinema, including horror, and we need to celebrate that. I happen to be a queer who loves horror, comic books, anime, manga.
Yeah, I've been a lifelong horror fan.
Yeah, and those things fill me up, and they made me happy.
Norman Bates. Yeah, Norman Bates in Psycho. That's the first horror movie that I ever saw at the tender age of 4 years old.
And Anthony Perkins
was bisexual, died of AIDS. Yeah. May he rest in peace.
Sexy, beautiful
man. So beautiful.
Man.
I would marry a Norman Bates, and that's what's scary. Is I probably would have let Jeffrey Dahmer pick me up at the bar.
He was cute. Yeah,
that's my type.
Ooh, honey, he would have zombified your ass
even more than I am now.
Trust.
Yeah.
Talk about brain food.